God isn't real. I have absolute proof that God does not exist. This proof is absolute, but immaterial. You can't see it or measure it, but it exists. It's beyond comprehension, and thus we should not even question it. It's everywhere at all times. You just need to have faith that it's there and that it's truth. My proof is as real as any God. No, you need a book. You need a very old book. Otherwise, what you're saying is not true. Why did humans start believing in God in the first place? You don't see platypuses putting on their best dress once a week just to go listen to another platypus talk about why everything they do and want to do is a sin. That's because humans are special, and we question things that don't necessarily need to even be questioned. And when we can't find answers to these big questions, it gives us a great deal of anxiety and dread. Just to fix that, our brain gives us this cool little feature called imagination, which is a 25-cent word that means we like to make shit up. Are you saying that humans made up God in our own imagination just to have a comforting and loving figure in our life? Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Good job. Like, that's insane! Not really. Humans, from a neurological standpoint, meet the 3 psychological prerequisites to make up a religion. 1, we seek patterns. 2, we infer intentions. And 3, we learn by imitation. These are cognitive adaptations that have helped our ancestors survive back when we were still like the hunter-gatherer types. For example, it's obviously useful to notice paw prints, a pattern, laid by a lion trying to eat you, an intention, and to deter the predator with tactics you've seen others successfully use. Imitation. Things like these help us find food or avoid things that think we're food, or stuff like predicting the weather. The first one is also why Uncle Joe wears his lucky socks every time the Raiders play, or why some people go get their palms read at fortune tellers. This also eventually led to the guy who saw the Virgin Mary on a grilled cheese sandwich. Did you know somebody bought that in 2004 on eBay for $28,000? The second one, other animals do this too, but not to the degree that we do it in. If you leave food out in front of one group of chimps, but completely out of sight to the other group of chimps, the monkeys that can see the food will take more food knowing that the other monkeys don't even know it's there. They're pretty fucked up animals. Humans go to the next level with this thought and infer intentions onto inanimate objects. Look at this picture. What is it? If you're like most people, you might interpret this picture with the shapes being characters and having some sort of goals that drive them. 2 triangles running away from the circle into their weird little house, or running out of the weird little house to go get the circle. I personally see a penguin eating triangle fins, and the circle is a fly. But I kind of think I've just been looking at this picture for a little bit too long. The third one ensures that we are predisposed to any religious practice. We learn most of our skills and behaviors by watching others, unlike most animals that rely on trial and error. This mentality extends to religious practices. If your prestigious member of the community sacrifices a deer every solstice, you're probably going to do the same thing. We've done experiments where kids and chimps are given problem-solving games. We show each group how to do the puzzle with a bunch of unnecessary steps, with only the last one being the one that releases the prize from the puzzle. The dumb human kids follow and repeat each step. The chimps just skip to the final one, and they're probably looking at us humans wondering, why are those dumb human kids wasting their time? It doesn't take supernatural beings to explain why so many people believe in God and practice religion. This is just an evolutionary, natural process. As people formed agriculture and societies, they began to see humans as a dominating force in nature, and they also envisioned gods who did likewise. We think as a species as special as us that someone out there must have created us with an intent, and they must have a purpose for us. As being the high and mighty creatures we are, we felt the need to create a god in our own image, and that is undeniable. I mean, dolphins are probably as smart as us. What makes you deny the fact that the real creator of the universe isn't a dolphin, you speciesist? The thing is, we don't live forever. We all die. Everything will die one day. And that just makes us question even more what the point to everything is and why we're here. It's way more comforting to think that there's going to be an afterlife after our one and only life, because the thought of nothing is pretty fucking unsettling. You don't remember what it's like before you were born because you just didn't exist yet. There was no way for you to be aware. After we die, there's a very high chance that it's going to be the same exact way. We just won't exist anymore, and for the same reason we'll have no ties to this world to even be aware. And that is a scary thought. And the idea of there being some bigger being out there looking out for us and watching us is a way more comforting answer that most people are just okay with. No one is born religious and no one discovers faith. It's taught to you by people, it was taught to you by people, it was taught to. And we just keep teaching it and repeating behaviors because it's tied to our moral values and how our entire society functions. If there is a God, the idea that of the hundreds, thousands of different religions that have ever existed, that the one that you were more than likely just born into is the right one is absolutely insane. The odds are stacked against you that you're praying to an idea of God that doesn't exist, or you're doing things in the name of a religion that don't even matter or make sense if the right one says to do the opposite. Ah, I hear you ask, what about the complexity of the planets point to a deliberate designer like the earth, the water, the brain, our eyes, the amazing kale soup and Olive Garden? That all couldn't just be an accident, right? Look. All the arguments for reasons on why there must be a God are assumptions with no real direct tie to the answer being there is a God. And I'm not saying it's wrong to believe in a higher power because it's completely natural to do so, but it's also completely natural to be in my shoes and having a little man inside your brain screaming at you to question why our silly species does these crazy fucking things in the name of God. If every trace of God was wiped off the face of the earth, the need for God would still remain. This attests to the simple fact that being human has an inexpressible dimension about it. This inexpressible dimension cannot be put into words or concepts, and even when entire cathedrals are built around it, they are just fragile symbols of our reality. And I think this is forever going to be an insolvable issue. God isn't real, but his existence is hard to deny. Hey, first video down, endless thought-provoking videos to go. If you enjoyed this video, just let me know by hitting that like button, and I'll be answering any questions and responding to any general discussion down below, so if you have anything you want to ask or talk about, just leave it in the comment section. Like I said, this is my first YouTube video, so it would mean a lot to me if you could just share it with some friends. I will see you guys soon.